Dr. Abdullahi Sabi is the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, and he is live with us here in the studio. Honorable Minister, it's good to have you once again in our studio. You're welcome. Welcome. You're most welcome. Well, let's jump straight in. Last week, that's precisely on Friday, we had the National Publicity Secretary of the All Farmers Association, and he was telling us how, you know, farmers are not really carried along in the scheme of things, like all these government programs. Take for instance, this 250 billion credit loan. His fear is that, you know, this might just end up in what he called, end up in the hands of what he called portfolio farmers. How do you respond to this position?
Well, thank you very much for having me. And of course, his fears are justified. They are the operators on the ground. And of course, we are 2 years in government. And since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over, he has not shown doubt about what he wants to do for Nigeria in terms of food security. And the vision is for food sovereignty, actually, where we are able to produce what we eat and eat what we produce. Because Nigeria is a blessed country, we have the arable land, and we have the hardworking farmers and indeed hardworking Nigerians. So what we're trying to do is to see that, yes, these potentials are there, but Nigerians will not eat potential. So we need to bring out programs and policies that will ensure that food is provided and is available all year round. Now, it's a bouquet of policy actions that we are having. And the aspect of the 250 billion is just one aspect of it. Now, because he is not aware of what is being planned, that's why he's saying what he's saying. But let me make it very clear and abundantly clear for that matter. Since we came on board in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, myself and my brother and colleague, Distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari, we've never doubted or missed what our mission is. Our mission is to transform the agricultural sector. And within that context, we have always, almost everything we do, we bring in the farmer organization. In fact, we have done a robust stakeholder analysis to let us see who are the critical players in the sector. Because if you don't know what the stakeholders, you know, are and who they are and what they do, then you might as well fall into what you are saying. Now, for this particular loan that is being talked about, what is happening right now is the mode, criteria, okay, and the methodology and process of how this will get to the beneficiaries. That is what is being worked out. Okay. And I want to assure you that definitely the farmers group, because they are in different groups, they have their umbrella body. And Architect Kabir is their president. Everything we do in the ministry, we carry him along.
Okay. Honorable Minister, when you're formulating policies, do you usually take inputs from these farmers, like the All Farmers Association of Nigeria? Because you said he may not be aware of what you're doing and he's still in the planning stage. Now, what was their own input? Because we also had projects in time past, like we had the anchors borrowers that, despite the huge amount that was invested, we saw what happens to the price of rice. We didn't see much an aspect of a yield comparing to in comparison with how much was voted, and so that such program will not become one program that will not outlive this government. Are you factoring this? Did you factor that in when you're developing these policies, or is it a policy from government and we just give it to them to implement?
All right, let's get something very clear. Okay. You don't keep doing policies as a routine. Policies are created. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture already has a policy document. And that policy document is the National Agricultural and Innovation Technology Policy. That is the umbrella upon which everything we are doing is anchored. And of course, with the renewed hope agenda of the president, which is the national overall, overarching policy direction, all we needed to do was to look at the policy of the sector and how it aligns. And definitely it aligns. Because the core policy statement of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and food security is to promote food security, promote production of raw material for industry, promote production for export so that we are able to earn some, what do they call it, foreign exchange out of it, and then also do what we call environmental remediation. These policy statements are standard policy statements. But what you do to drive those policy statements is what we are talking about in terms of programs, in terms of initiatives, in terms of projects. Now, the other issue is that for every policy, there are strategies or approach to tackling those policies. One of the major constraints that you need to tackle if your policy has to have traction is access to capital. And I want to tell you the issue of access to capital is something that government is not joking with. That explains also why we have the National Agricultural Development Fund, which has now been brought on board to help support the growth of agricultural capital. Now, this other intervention is born out of the magnanimity of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who already had declared a state of emergency on food security. And so we are having a bouquet of actions from where we are bringing in food, which we have distributed. In this studio, I have given feedback on that when I was here the last time. And beyond that also, we need to carry on what we say the all year round farming. Now, to promote food security, we said Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is now promoting an all year round farming policy regime, which means for all of the 12 months, we must have activities in the agricultural sector, whether producing maize, cassava, rice, tomato, onions, and the like. And remember, I was here and I told you that, for example, if you look at tomato, onions, and pepper, these three commodities are what we call inflation sensitive. Most times when you see inflation, the key indicator is that the price of onions have gone up, the price of tomato has gone up, the price of pepper have gone up. So realizing this, for example, the ministry has taken this very seriously, and we are now having a response to these three commodities alone. So that at the end of the day, we are going to create a stability in terms of both their production, their supply, and the supply chain.
All right, Honorable Minister, we'll still come back to a lot of issues on the table, but that'll be right after this short break. Don't go anywhere else. I have more for you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.